My name is Daniel Perry. I'm currently 17 years old. I'm here with Team Innova. We're gonna be testing out some Tour Series discs today, and we're gonna be starting with the GARRETT GURTHIE Wraith. Let's go. All right, we're starting with the Wraith. These have a really unique low parting line and big dome, so that really helps them glide really far. We're gonna try and hit this one nice and flat. Jeez, those fly so good. And they go really far, holy moly. All right, these are flying really nice right now. Get this one a little wider. All right, now we're gonna be doing the PHILO Wraiths. These should be a little bit flippier than the GARRETTs, so we're gonna put a little more hyzer on this one. Nice flip at the top. We're gonna hit this one nice and flat and really see how much we can get it to flex. All right, well those fly really nice. All right, we got the GARRETT XCALs. These should be nice and stable. They have a really nice shape wing, nice high parting line. Should be really overstable. So we're gonna get this wide and on a little bit of anhyzer. Oh, wow. Those fly really nice. They're nice and stable. Really like how much you can really rip on it and it still goes far. Wow, that's so nice. Skip. Oh! Okay, we got the Own Destroyers. These are Halo Champion. I have not thrown these yet, and I'm really excited to see how these fly. So we're just gonna hit this first one nice and flat. Okay, so they're a little bit stable, which I like. So we're gonna hang this one wider, really trust it and see how much it comes back. Oh, wow. Those are so nice. Just go in. Oh, it hit the band. Man, these are incredible. Let's see if we can reproduce that. Keep this one nice and wide. Geez, those fly so good. Another one. Oh, so close. Okay, we got the Bradley Williams Halo Star Destroyers. These are a little bit lightweight, so they should be absolute bombers. So we're gonna see how far we can get these to fly. Okay, those fly super nice. Is that long? Holy moly. Pure hyzer at this one, see how well they hold up. Stands up super nice at the top. Hold straight and then a nice good fade. Yeah, those are really like a little bit of a straighter version of the Own Destroyers, so those are gonna end up really nice for people who don't throw quite as hard. We got the Calvin Halo Star Destroyers. These are very similar to the Bradley ones I just threw, but they're max weight, so these should be a little more stable. I've already thrown some of these and I really like them, so we're gonna see how well we can showcase that right now. Ooh, those fly super good and they go really far. Okay, we're gonna get this one on a full flex end and really see how much we can get out of these. Jeez, so good. That's way past it. Yeah, I would say those are some of the best Calvins that I've thrown in a long time, so these are gonna be really nice to experiment with this season. They have that perfect stand-up at the top, so throw on a little hyzer will pop up to flat and then ride for a long time with a slow fade. And then if you get it really nice and flat, it'll get a nice slow turn and then a nice good finish. Really good for sidearm, backhand, everything. You kind of throw them on whatever kind of shot you want. Okay, we got the HENNA Destroyers. These are Proto Glow Halo Star. I have not thrown these before, so I'm really excited to see how these throw. We're gonna get this first one nice and flat, a little bit wide, and see how it flies. Okay. So they got a nice turn at the top. They're really flat and they're a little bit on the softer side, which I personally kind of like. I feel like I can grip it better when it's a little bit softer. And throwing, I mean, doesn't make a big difference, but just personal feel, these feel really good in my hand. Super nice. They're a little bit flippier than some other destroyers, so you get that extra push at the top of the flight so you can throw these pier hyzers a little bit further. Yeah, I really like how those fly. They're a little flippier, so for those bigger hyzers, they work better because you can throw it and it'll kind of stand up, get that more forward push compared to some of the other destroyers where they'll get that immediate dump. All right, we got the PHILO destroyers. These are super cool looking. They got the swirly star, nice big dome, should have lots of glide, nice and grippy. And they're a little bit lighter weight. They're like mid to high 60s, low 70s, so we're gonna see how they fly. Wow. Those go far. They're not gonna be the most overstable destroyers that you're gonna throw, but they're gonna fly really far right out of the box if that's what you're looking for. Okay, a little more of a hyzer flip line there. Stands up at the top and then got a nice finish. Okay, we're gonna get this one, last one nice and wide. See how far we can push this one on more of a wider hyzer line. So it kind of stands up at the top and then got a nice finish. Yeah, so really like how those fly. They're a little bit more understable than your normal destroyer, so me throwing them hard and flat, get a nice long turn, then a nice good finish, so lower arm speed's gonna be able to have them fly a little bit more like some of the more overstable destroyers fly. Okay, we got the Juliana Proto Glow Halo Star Mambas. These are pretty flippy and a little lightweight, but I've heard that these glide really well, so I'm kind of excited to see how I can throw these. Okay, so they're pretty flippy, but we can work with that. Try and get like a really late flip stand up with these. Throw them nice and wide, give them the height. That's incredibly wide, but pretty good roller disc, honestly. Like, wasn't where I was aiming, but it rolled really nice. So for higher arm speeds, probably a pretty good like max distance roller disc. For lower arm speeds, probably really good max distance driver. Nice and flat, good turn, good low finish, probably pretty straight overall. Okay, we got the Metal Flake Halo Champion Juliana turns. I haven't thrown a turn in a long time and I've never thrown this specific plastic, so I'm kind of excited to see how it flies. Plastic-wise, feels really good. A little stiffer than the Halo Champion, got nice good tackiness. Really like how it feels. Okay, those, oh wow. Okay, those fly a lot better than I was expecting. They're really usable for higher arm speeds on these big turnover lines. Gonna try and replicate that. So that one didn't quite hold. Well, maybe just aced the other one. Oh my gosh. Almost aced the wrong basket. Put that one on a little hyzer so it didn't quite pan all the way over. I'm gonna kind of try and do that again, just throw like a direct hyzer flip right at the basket and drill it into the hill. Same spot. So those fly really nice for higher arm speeds, for like big turnover lines, can really throw them nice and high, know it's gonna hold that turn. Lower arm speeds, probably gonna fly somewhat similar to like a destroyer will fly for people who throw really hard. Slight little turn at the top, nice consistent fade. Really good for going uphill, tailwind, all kind of stuff. Okay, we got the Jessica Weiss Halo Champion Shrykes. Really like how the plastic feels. I'm a big fan of Halo Champion. It tends, I feel like any Halo Champion disc flies really well, so I'm excited to see how this one does. It's gonna start nice and flat, a little bit left for the basket, let it flip. Holy moly, that flies good. Wow. So we're gonna throw this one on a little hyzer flip right at the basket and see how straight we can get it to fly. Yeah, those fly really straight for a 13 speed. Those are very, very useful. We got one more. I'm gonna try a little bit more of a higher turnover line with this one, see how much it'll hold it. Holds it for a long time. Wow, that's so nice. Wow, so those fly really, really good. I was throwing those pretty hard and they weren't burning over, which is, I really like that. Really good for max distance discs right out of the box for pros, and for lower arm speeds, probably gonna be a really nice straight to overstable distance driver. Okay, we got the GREGG BARSBY Proto Glow Halo Star Katanas. I've never thrown a katana before, so I'm pretty excited to see how these fly. We're just gonna throw it flat left of the basket, see how much it'll turn in. Oh, wow. Okay, that flies a lot nicer than I thought it was gonna. These are a little more overstable than I was expecting, so I'm gonna try almost a hyzer flip towards that one. There it is. Wow. Pretty much, I'm throwing those pretty hard, like full S-flight, so long turn, nice good finish at the end, so really good out of the box bombers. The nose stayed down the whole time, never really stalled. Probably for lower arm speeds, probably a little bit overstable, but they still go plenty far. We got the MERTSCH Sidewinder here. These are champion. They look really sick, and I have not thrown one of these before. And I also got the little smiley face on the back, which is kind of cool. So I'm excited to see how these fly. Okay, wow, that went really far. Okay, that went not quite as flippy as I was expecting. This one's a little domier, so it should glide further. So we're gonna throw this one more right at the basket and kind of drive it into the hill. Those are very, very straight. Wow. Yeah, these fly a lot nicer than I was expecting. We'll hit this one like right at the basket and see if we can get a nice line drive. Yeah, so a little bit of turn when you keep the nose down, but not too much. It's a good amount of turn for just that really nice fairway shot that just kind of tails off to the right. One of the harder shots to get in disc golf, so it's nice to see we got a disc that can do it. Yeah, that late turn is just so nice. Wow, these fly really, really nice. They just kind of have that slow, gentle fade off to the right, which is a really hard shot to get in disc golf. So it's really nice to know that we have a disc that can do it well. They're not flippy. I'd say they're straight for the most part, but they just have that perfect amount of like late drift that I think is really important shot to have. Okay, we got the Bradley Williams Valkyrie here. These are all, for the most part, lightweight, and they got a really nice dome on them, so they should be really nice and glidey. I'm excited to see how these fly. Wow, those fly very, very nice. Really like how these feel and fly. I'm gonna hit this one a little hyzer, a little bit wider, and kind of see if we can get like a hyzer flip in. Really nice stand up on the hyzer flip. Those fly way better than I thought they were gonna. I really like them how they are right now, throwing hard. They hold turn well, they got a really nice stand up. They almost fly like, almost like a baby destroyer. In a way, almost I feel a little bit with some of those flippier destroyers, you kind of get that stand up and that little fade. Kind of getting the same vibes with this, just about 40, 50 feet less distance. And for lower arm speeds, they're probably gonna fly like a really good Wraith, probably, just a little, not quite as far. We got the HEIMBURG Swirly Star Thunderbirds. These are nice and stiff. They look cool, they got a nice stamp on them. Really like how they're not like super domey, they're a little bit on the flatter side. I like that for discs a lot. So we're gonna be going to that one in the corner. I'm gonna throw a nice flat and wide and see how stable it is. Okay, so those are really nice and overstable. Good glide. So we're gonna get this one a little bit wider, maybe a touch flatter too. So that came out on a little bit of anhyzer, but it fought out of it really nicely. And I thought that was too wide, but it got all the way back. So they're definitely more overstable than a normal Thunderbird, I would say, but they feel really good. And I kind of like how they're a little bit more stable than normal Thunderbird. I'm gonna put this one on a little bit of ante and kind of see how it fights out of a flex. So it pans with the flex and then fights out really nice and scoring really far. So those fly really good, kind of like a cross between a Thunderbird and a Firebird almost. They're a little more stable than a normal Thunderbird, a little less stable than a Firebird. So really cool kind of hybrid there, and they feel really good for forehands as well. Okay, we got the Nate Sexton Halo Champion Firebirds. I have not thrown these yet, so I'm pretty excited to see how they fly. They got a slight dome and a little bit of pop. So probably are gonna be a little bit on the overstable side, but I'm excited to test these out. So very overstable fairway, but it still goes pretty far. Almost got to the basket with that one. We're gonna get this one a little bit higher, pretty much the same angle. Well, that was higher for sure. Yeah, so those are just very overstable, very consistent. You know, always gonna be able to rely on this in any headwind whatsoever. You just need to like kind of put one in the fairway. Gonna be able to do it well. They just get to the ground, so like they fly nice. They don't have a ton of glide, so really good for ranging on shorter shots when you got something behind the basket you really don't want to get into. It's going to be really easy to like throw it hard, commit to the shot, and not have it just glide right past the basket, and it's going to get to the ground with not a ton of ground play. Okay, we got the Henna Halo Star Firebirds. These are a little bit flatter than the Sextons, and they're a little bit softer, which I kind of like. So I'm excited to see how these fly. We're just going to start flat and wide and see, kind of get like a stock shot. Okay, so those are first impression, pretty similar to the Nate Sexton Firebird, but a little more forward push, so not quite as overstable, and a touch more glide. That one might be a little bit more stable, so pretty similar to the Sexton Firebird. The feel is just different if you like that kind of flatter top and a little bit softer plastic. This one, it's definitely the one. But if you really hit them hard and flat, got a decent bit of glide for a Firebird, but again, just really consistent finish, headwind, whatever, just need to put one in the fairway. This is gonna be the one to go for, just because you always know it's gonna go left, so you can adjust. So, I mean, it's a really good Firebird, nice flat, a little bit softer if you really like that. I like the flatter for sidearms personally. And just knowing that it's like nice and overstable, always just gonna go left. Don't have to worry about turning over out of bounds or going anywhere. You can just always just put a nice hyzer right in the middle of the fairway. I personally bag TL3s, and it's probably my favorite fairway driver. I feel like it's a really underrated disc, so I'm really excited to see how these turn out. Okay, so they're a little bit beefier than other TL3s I've thrown, so we're gonna get this one on a little bit of anhyzer and kind of see how it'll hold it. Super straight, and then a hard finish at the end. So far first impressions are these are gonna get a really nice forward push for a really long time, and then as kind of like gets a nice little fade at the end. I'm gonna put this one on some anhyzer and see how well it'll kind of hold the turn coming into the basket. So I might go in. Oh, okay. So they fly really good. They fly straight for a long time, then they got a nice low speed fade. So really good for just kind of chipping around corners, and really consistent fly. It fly the same almost every single time. That's why it's one of my favorite discs. So yeah, they're pretty good. All right, we got the Jen Allen Proto Glow Champion T-Birds. These turn out really well every single year. These feel really nice. Super small dome, which I think is perfect for a T-Bird. They're really stiff, and I know a lot of people really like that older stiff stuff. This is very reminiscent of that, so really excited to see how these fly. Jeez, super good T-Bird. Yeah, these fly incredible. That's exactly how I want my T-Birds to fly. This long straight push and a little finish at the end. Those stay straight really long, and then that nice little fade. We're gonna put this next one, a little bit of anhyzer, kind of see how it'll flex out of that or hold it. Wow. So holds the turn really well and then fights out right at the end. Last one. We're gonna beam it right at it and see if we can make something cool happen. All right, so those are really, really nice T-Birds. I really personally like the stiffer feel on my T-Birds, and that slight dome is just absolutely perfect. They have a really nice straight push and then a really consistent fade, but it's not too stable. So I really, really like those. Okay, we got the Proto Glow Champion BARSBY Eagles. I'm really excited to throw these. I haven't thrown an Eagle in a while, and I know they're a little more stable than T-Bird, so we're gonna put this one right at the basket and see how it'll kind of glide in. So really, really straight flyers, a little bit of high speed turn at the top and low speed finish. See if we can kind of dial this one in. So straight for a long time and then nice little finish. My impression is they're like almost like a little bit more understable run of Eagles than what I normally see, but that could be really good for lower arm speeds. Then you kind of get that same flight that you see the pros throw, like when they fly like how Calvin throws his Eagles all the time on tour. You see those like super crazy late flip turns and just like dead straight. That's what they kind of remind me of. Okay, we got the own SCOGGINS Proto Glow Halo Star Leopard 3. These feel really nice. They're pretty flat on the top with like the tiniest bit of a dome, which is how I like my leopards, and makes them pretty glidey. So we're gonna hang this a little bit wide and see how much it'll turn. Wow. Maybe in. Jeez. I use my leopards for long turnover shots, like stock fairway, kind of like how that one flew. Just where I got like a big tree or corner I have to make and just know it's not really gonna fade out. I can put it high, know it's just gonna keep turning and panning, and they go pretty decently far too. That's the flight I'm talking about, just dead straight. A little fade if you don't quite flip it up all the way, but I really like the leopards for just the long turnovers. That's what I think they're really, really, really good for. Okay, so we got the EVELLINA Proto Glow Halo Champion J's. The J is personally my favorite disc. I think it's one of the best mid-ranges that Innova has. Really straight, can shape them to all sorts of stuff, like hyzer flip, straight hyzers, turnovers, everything. So I'm really excited to see how this flies. So we're just gonna start by throwing it nice and flat, kind of get a baseline. So they fly really straight, nice little fade at the end, but it's still pushing forward, so you're gaining distance that whole time, so you're not just getting like a straight dump out, it's gonna keep getting distance. I'm gonna try and put this one a little anhyzer and see how it'll pan. Left the nose up quite a bit on that one, but went really far. That's one of the things I really love about the J is I can rip it as hard as I can. It never really burns over. And when I really get a good snap, I can throw these about 400 feet, so you can really put as much power as you want on these and they won't ever burn over. Jeez. So these J's are definitely on the stable side for a J, but that can be very useful. You know, you can start it at stable. It kind of works really well in a headwind, you know, any kind of wind, just to keep it consistent, and then as it kind of seasons in, you'll get that nice little hyzer flip to turn over. So it was really nice to see how those fly. Just got done testing all the 2025 Tour Series for the Star Team. The disc that surprised me the most was the Shryke. I've thrown Shrykes before and they're generally on the flippy side for me, but those flew really, really well for a Shryke. I was really impressed. I could get like nice long turn, good finish. Never really burned any of them over, so I was really pleasantly surprised with that. The own Scoggins Destroyers were my favorite. I think I really liked how they flew. Very similar to the 2020 Calvins, which are really hard to find now and they're really, really good. So I will definitely be picking up a few of those. And then the GARRETT GURTHIE XCALs. I really, really liked those as well. Those fly kind of similar to the 21 Calvins, which are very popular, and we'll definitely be picking up a few of those as well. I really liked being able to test them. It was super fun. I think another one that surprised me was the Valkyrie. It was really fun to throw. I've never really thrown a Valkyrie before, so that was really kind of cool. I threw most of them pretty good, and they flew really nice, kind of Teebird 3-esque, so that was just kind of fun to see. And you know, I look at all the Tour Series every year, never really have a chance to try them all, so it was really fun to come out here and try them all. Thanks for having me.